what we have in common is sleep works great for men and women, right? And eating vegetables, right? Also great for men and women. And again, you can look at the data. Exercise, great. And so there's nuances on the exercise of like around a woman's cycle. So yes, there's nuances, but generally speaking, the basics of life health practices are good for both males and females. And so then the nuances, like on my protocol, I have a protocol I've published publicly. There's nuances of a woman's cycle, what to do around that for both food and exercise. So yeah, those are details I've listed out. But generally speaking, the benefits are in the power laws of health and wellness, of getting the basics right, and less so the tail things which people focus on.
Yeah. And how does someone lower their inflammation, which is known as like the silent killer?
So my body, for example, has barely levels of any detectable inflammation. It's almost entirely gone.
I want that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Do you know your inflammation level?
I don't know my level. Recently, I've got a blood test coming up again, so I need to check it out with Darshan. But yeah, it's always been one of those things that's been hard for me to manage.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So you're looking probably at your HSCRP. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it has to do with diet, a lot, sleep. Yeah. It's like, again, like back to the basics of life, and then stress. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it kind of always comes back to the basics.
Yeah. And what are people getting wrong in their daily schedule with stress that they could easily change to kind of lower that? Because like we talked about earlier, not everyone's in a position to take care of their own schedule, build their thing. They may be working a job in a certain way. Like, what are some things people can do to manage that throughout the day?
So sleep is probably the most powerful thing to manage stress. Mm-hmm. 2 is, if you're exercising and feel well, it also lowers like stress response. Then a balanced diet. Every single
same thing.
Same stuff. Like you get those power laws in place.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot of people, like when they can't get those power laws in place, they want to take a pill and so I realize that's how a lot of people think. I do want to urge people, like, get those habits in place.
Yeah.
They are the most robust, highly performative things you can do.
What does your 1 hour workout look like?
It's cardio, weights, balance, and flexibility.
Okay. Yeah. Very balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about everything you're saying is that it's things that it's almost like some of it we know, some of it we're aware of. The biggest challenge, I guess, when it comes to all of this is discipline. Like discipline, if there was one word, what word would you choose? If there's one thing that you said is at the core of everything you've talked about today.
It's systems.
Systems,
yeah. So like if you say like, I go to bed at this time of day every single day, you build your life around it. If you say I work out in the morning, right, I wake up every day and never change it. So the thing that most people do is they leave the decision to their willpower. They say, do I feel like it or not? And then in that moment, it's like, nah, I'm going to skip today because like I've been working really hard. I need to rest anyways. Like you rationalize it in whatever way. So just build systems. I basically, when I started doing this, like when I came here today, I put your address in to my navigation system and I was like, take me there. I didn't like memorize the streets, right? And so I trusted the algorithm that had more data than I had. And so I proposed this 4 years ago when I started. I said, can we build an algorithm that takes better care of me than I can myself? Like just measure my body, put it into a computational system and pair the science, then tell me what to do. Yeah. I wanted to do like navigation for my body. And that's what we've done. So I do not make decisions with my mind.
Yes.
The algorithm does all the things for me. And so I feel like inevitable that we humans will not do this weird thing of make decisions on a daily basis of what to eat, when to exercise. It will just be done by an algorithm. And we'll be like, this is amazing because like it just does what's right for me. I feel amazing. I was scared of it before and now it's the best thing ever. It's like, it's just inevitable we're going to be in that path. Now, a lot of people, when they hear that, they will think it's dystopic, which like, I get it from where you're at, but like we have said yes to algorithms everywhere and it's entirely reasonable that we say yes to our health.
Yeah, I think the systems point is so true. And a big part of systems is focusing on how you feel after the system is complete, not before.
Yes.
Like I have the same system. I know what days I work out and what times I work out. And it's still hard before one of those days to feel like I really want to do it.
Yes.
But I know for a fact I'm going to feel great. So even when I'm in that moment to message and be like, oh, I don't want to work out today, I know I'm going to regret that later.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to appreciate later that I got that workout in, even when I felt tired, even when I felt sluggish.
Yes.
That's actually going to be the best time. And so I love the answer of systems, but I think it's kind of programming the mind to be committed to the feeling after you complete a system, never how you're going to feel before.
Yeah, that's true. And like I learned this when I was depressed. You know, my mind was like, hey, you should commit suicide. Like, life is awful. You're never going to feel hope again. Die. And like, it was just on repeat saying that. And I learned, like, it was the biggest breakthrough in my depression was when I learned I am not my thoughts. Such a simple concept, but like, you see it land, it's like, okay, this came from somewhere, but it's not me. And so even now, like, do I want to work out or not? I don't care what my brain says. It is an unreliable source of information. Systems are a more reliable form of information. So like, set up your system, and like you're saying, you know, if you do the system, you're going to be happy. I just never trust my mind to tell me what I do and don't want to do.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is a lot of people will say, well, are you just not ignoring your emotions and how you feel? What I find is the opposite, that the system makes you better at dealing with any emotion that then comes up.
Exactly right.
So it's not that you don't have emotions and you don't have feelings and you don't experience stress or anxiety, but the system being in place actually just gave you all of this willpower, going back to your point. And I think that's where we go wrong, because I think we've kind of got to this place in society where it's like, well, how you feel is the reality,
yes,
is the truth. And it's like, whoa, if I just listen how I feel all the time, I'll probably never do anything that's good for me.
Yes.
I'll probably eat lots of stuff that's bad for me. And I'll never choose the thing that's right for me. And I'll keep doing what's wrong for me because it's easier.
Exactly.
And my mind is constantly trying to get me to do what's easier.
Exactly.
And what's easier is really good for me.
Entirely.
Yeah. I find that to be that feels like it's it. Like, what's good for me is not easy, and what's easy is not good for me.
Yeah.
And what's uncomfortable is probably the right decision, and what's comfortable is probably the wrong decision. What did it take you to program yourself to say yes to that algorithm?
Like, two things. Like, one, when I built my previous company, Braintree Venmo, we would build version 1 of our software, and then version 2 and version 3. We never showed up, and the software was like, guys, nah, I don't feel like doing my work today. I'm not going to perform. Like, the software just performed in its most robust way possible. It's very reliable. Now, there were bugs, and we could fix the bug, but then whereas me, as a system of intelligence, just like software, I would make all the same errors every day. Go to bed late, eat the wrong foods, maybe have alcohol, like waste time on things I didn't want to do. Like, I would just be this walking disaster of errors. And I would do the same behaviors every single day. And I thought, this is crazy. Like, this form of intelligence, I can just program to be like this great, robust intelligence, whereas I can't do anything reliable. And I thought, I want to build myself in a way where I can reliably be robust as an intelligent system. So like, this is kind of cool. Like, we can imagine this as humans. So I wanted to build systems. And like, I know a lot of people will be like, that's so weird. You're not a computer. But like, so I get it. But I guess like, I would say two things. One is that when I talk about these things in these terms, people will say, but you're not happy. Like, I find happiness in life in spontaneity of like staying up all night. And like, they have all these elegant explanations about, why they love to do the following things, which is fine. So there's like two ways to look at this. One is say like, what does your health look like? What does my health look like? What does your happiness look like? And what does my happiness look like? And like, quantitatively, I think this system is superior. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do a specific thing. You can still have flexibility and you can have spontaneity, but generally speaking, people are very reluctant to release the status quo of like, do they just like do whatever they want, whenever they want, to a more rigorous stance of like, you can be happier with these systems in place. But it's just like, I've had this conversation so many times. I know like the deep resistance people have to just shut this down. But I'm suggesting like, this is really the reality of the future of being human. I'm prototyping it right now. And it actually is a superior system to whatever we're doing as humans now.